Alright, so I wanted to go over a concept called the 3P Trinity, which goes over the three different properties that you can profit off of, which is IP, DP, and PP. IP is intellectual property, and intellectual property are things like trademarks, patents, trade dresses, trade secrets, frameworks, or things like that. IP is things that you think of that adds value to the real world. What physical property is the things that we all know is like real estate. That's physical property. Physical property can also be anything physical. This laptop is physical property. This chair I'm sitting on is physical property. Physical property are real tangible things that you can touch and feel that also adds value. DP is digital property, and what digital property is websites, subscriptions, things like that. So you have these three different types of property, but the real magic comes with combining two or three of these together to increase your revenue that you can make from leveraging a combination of two or three of these things. So right now I'll give you some examples of each combination and how different companies use these in order to leverage their IP, their physical real estate, and digital real estate. An example of a company using IP and physical property is Nike. So Nike, they have IP, which is their branding, their logos, and how they design certain things. They also leverage their physical property by making the shoes inside their warehouses and having the retail stores that they can then sell the IP out of. And an example of a company using physical property and digital property is Amazon. Amazon has a lot of warehouses and a lot of distribution centers that they then sell the stuff that they have inside their distribution centers online on their digital platform, where anybody around the world can go on there and buy stuff from rather than going in person. An example of intellectual property and digital property being leveraged together as a combination is Netflix. So Netflix has their characters and storylines, which is IP, intellectual property. They made those characters and stories up, and they leverage this with their digital property, which is their online streaming services that you go to actually watch the movies that they create from their IP. So an example of a company using all three of these to leverage maximum growth inside their company, and the company that probably does it, if not the best, one of the best, is Disney. They have their IP, which is their storylines and their characters like Mickey Mouse and Toy Stories and things like that. They have their digital platform, which is Disney Plus, that they use these same movies and characters to stream on their platform. And they also have Disney World and Disneyland, and these are physical places that people can come and interact with their IP. So you have all of these different forms of property, which, like I said, is intellectual property, physical property, and digital property. But the real magic comes from picking out the right models in order to monetize and create different streams out of these different property sources. So in physical real estate, there's different models already out there. Still, with each of these, you can get pretty creative. The models commonly used with real estate in general is short-term leases, long-term leases, selling right out, timeshare, and things like that. But in other forms of property, like intellectual properties, you can lease that out as well. You can lease out your intellectual property to yourself or a different company if you feel that's where the highest and best use comes from. Or you could sell your IP or create a different model out of these as well. And the same goes for digital property. With digital property as well as intellectual property, those are like kind of different because you're able to have way more people coming into these different models that you create, and you don't have the limit of having a physical property, so you can cash flow more because you don't have a physical barrier on how many people can fit inside one space. You can have as many people interact with these things as possible, as long as you have the infrastructure to support the people that is coming in. The common model with digital properties are like subscriptions and the advertisements you run to run traffic towards any of your digital assets that you have. Using all three of these together and figuring out how to create different models on either one or all of them together is really how you find a gold mine and create different revenue sources from these different things and leveraging it in order to further profit.